بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. So we are learning types of math, and yesterday we went over a few types. The first type was ma istifhamia. This ma is used to ask a question. And we went over a few examples, and then we learned about the use of harf with ma istifhamia, and what change happens when the harf is attached to ma istifhamia. Then the second type of ma we learned was ma nafiya. Ma nafiya is used for negation, and it can be used with jumla ismiya or jumla fi'liya. Both can work with this ma nafiya. Then we learned about ma mausula. Ma mausula is like other asmaul mausula like allazi, allazina. It has a sila, and when ma and its sila are together, they play a role in the sentence, and it can be they play a role of like fa'il, maf'ul, and the other or they can play another role as listed here. And in the sila there is an aid which refers back to the ism mawsul, which can be attached, detached, inside, or it is not there, it is just implied. And the sila doesn't have a status. It is called la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. There is no i'rab for it. Today, inshallah, we will start from the fourth type, that is ma shartiya. Ma shartiya means the ma which is used to describe a condition. A conditional sentence have a ma can have a ma shartiya in it. And when this ma shartiya is used and there is a fi'lul mudari in that conditional sentence, then that fi'l mudari will be majzoom. And that is how you can recognize that it is ma shartiya. Because ma shartiya is one of the jazimul fi'lil mudari. Because if you remember, the other jawazim are li, lam, lamma, and the conditional sentences starting with in, man, ma, and ainama. So this is one of those, ma shartiya. And it will be very clear to, or it will be very easy to recognize it when you go over these examples. For example, the first one is وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ يَعْلَمْهُ اللَّهُ. And whatever you do, تَفْعَلُوا, but actually it is what? تَفْعَلُونَ. فَعَلَ يَفْعَلُ, يَفْعَلُونَ, تَفْعَلُ, تَفْعَلُونَ. What's the reason for noon to disappear? Yeah, that's what we need to learn. Min khairin, any good, from good or any good. Ya'lamu Allahu. It should be ya'lamu. Alima ya'lamu, bab samiya. Alima ya'lamu. But it is not ya'lamu. It is ya'lam. The meme has got a spoon on it, a jazm. So in both cases, you see a noon is missing here and a dhamma is missing here. And in dhamma's place, there is a jazm or sukoon here. And this has a meaning. has happened because both of them have become majzoom. Both were failul mudare and they have become majzoom. So وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ, and whatever you do from good, whatever you do from good or any type of good, this is condition. And then the jawabu shart is يَعْلَمْهُ اللَّهُ, Allah knows it. The first part is shart and the second part is jawabu shart, and together it is jumla shartiyya. So the fi'l mudari in shart is majzoom and the fi'l mudari in jawabu shart is also majzoom. And this is how you can recognize this ma. And it is happening because this is a jumla shartiyya and ma is used in it. Similarly, now another example, ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأتي بخير منها أو مثلها. Whatever we cancel, we abrogate. So it should be nansahu. Nasaha yansahu. Fataha yaftahu. Ba fataha. Nasaha yansahu. Whatever we cancel, any ayah, from an ayah or any ayah, أو ننسيها. It should be nunsi. Ansa yunsi. Ansa, he caused someone to forget. Nunsi, ansa yunsi, like aghna yugni. But that ya is missing here, which means it is majzoom. Nunsiha na'ti. It should be na'ti. Ata ya'ti. Ata ya'ti. Ata ya'ti ya'tuna. Ta'ti ta'tuna ati na'ti. We come. Ata, he came. Like hada yahdi. Ata ya'ti. We come with khayrim min, better than ha, it, or mithliha, equivalent to it. Whatever we cancel from an ayah or we make it, ha refers back to ayah, make it forget, we bring manati bi, we bring better than it or equivalent to it, like it. So over here you see up to nunsiha is shart and na'ti bi khayrin minha aw misliha is the jawab shart. So there are two fi'l mudari in the shart part and both of them are majzoom, nansakh and nunsi, and in the jawab shart part there is only one fi'l mudari and it is also majzoom, which confirms that this ma is ma shartiyya. Third example, وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ شَيْءٍ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ يُوَفَّى إِلَيْكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تُظْلَمُونَ. Whatever you spend, anything, in the path of Allah, يُوَفَّى, it will be paid in full to you, towards you, and you will not be wronged. It should be يُوَفَّى. There should be an alif maksura at the end, which is missing. So it is majzoom. And similarly, tunfikuna. The real word is tunfikuna, and it is also majzoom. So up to fi sabilillahi is the shart, and the remaining part is the jawabush shart. So this is ma shartiya, very straightforward and easy to recognize. Any question on ma shartiya? Okay.
Brother Shabazz, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
When we say ma shartiya, should we translate ma as what or whatever?
Mostly it will be whatever. Whatever. Even if you do, even if you use what, that will probably suffice too. But for better English, maybe you can say whatever.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. What or whatever. I mean, both.
Can you explain ma shartiya again, please? Just like fast, because I couldn't hear.
Ma shartiya is used, can be used as part of a jumla shartiya, a conditional sentence. A conditional sentence is if something happens, then the other thing will happen. Hmm?
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So
There are
like
two
this.
parts. There are two parts in that sentence. And the ma comes with the first part. And if that happens, that ma is called ma shartiya, meaning conditional ma. You can say that. Its name is conditional ma or ma used for condition. So it comes with conditional sentences. Like if you work hard, then you will succeed. Or you say, you come to our house, then we will play, right? So
Yeah.
coming to the house is condition, and if that happens, then you will play. So there are two parts, and this ma is used in those kinds of sentences.
Okay.
Make
So
sense?
like, is there like any pattern of like, no, like, is there like any specific letter that gets stitched, or like, is it just dudes that are like ditched, or like, or the difference?
You mean variation or the change to the verb?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is the indication. If ma is used and then you see a fail, it has become majzoom, missing a noon or missing a haraka,
Oh,
then
it
that's a
has to be
big
a verb.
yeah, it is a verb. It's
Oh,
only
it
a
has
verb.
to be a verb. Okay.
Failul mudare. And even in verb, it should be al failul mudare.
Mudari.
Yeah. Because this cannot happen to al failul madi. Okay.
Yeah.
If there was a madi word can come here because I chose the words only or the examples where only failul mudare is used. But there could be an example where failul madi is not used. Sorry,
Oh.
failul mudare is not used. I use examples where failul mudare is used. But there could
So
be
we
other
can also use fair with fair and Vadi. Like Vadi.
failul madi can also come.
Okay.
Then it will be no change to it.
Okay.
Okay, next one is ma ta'ajjubiyya, and this is used to describe amazement. For example, qutila al-insanu ma akfara. It comes with ma af'ala pattern. Comes in ma af'ala pattern. May the human be killed. How unthankful he is. Ma akfara pattern. Because kafara also means he was unthankful. And this is like a calling in a bad sense. No, may insan be, may the human be killed. How unthankful he is. So ma afala pattern. Similarly, ma asbara, similar pattern here. Fama asbarahum ala nar, and how patient they are upon fire. So ma asbara. This ma is used to describe amazement. So you can say ma of amazement. Ma ta'ajjubiyya. And it comes in ma af'ala pattern. Very simple. And it is used to describe amazement. Next ma zaida. Ma zaida is used normally, most occasions would be used for ta'keed, for emphasis, for putting emphasis in the sentence, then it is used. For example, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. Now, if we translate this, then with what mercy from Allah you were lenient to them. So, with what mercy, normally we translate ma as what? So, with what mercy from Allah you were lenient to them. Now it doesn't make sense. This sentence is not making a lot of sense. But if I remove ma, I don't translate ma, then you see what happens. Then, so with mercy from Allah, you were lenient to them. or you can say because of the mercy from Allah, you were lenient to them. Now it makes sense. What I'm trying to say is, if I don't translate ma and just ignore it, then this sentence makes sense. Okay, that is why this ma is ma zaida. But we cannot ignore it. We cannot, because we cannot. If it is ma zaida, an extra ma, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have a role in it. It still have a role, and role is to emphasize or magnify something. So how I will translate? So only with great mercy from Allah, you were lenient to them. I'm saying only because jar majroor has come. It actually be rahmatin. Jar majroor has come before, so that's why I'm saying only. And ma is used to magnify the rahmah. So with only great mahma from Allah, you were lenient to them. So you see, ma has come between ajar and majroor, but it did not prevent the action. Still rahmatin is majroor. Okay, so this ma is ma zaida. It is used here to magnify the rahmah, to highlight the rahmah. Okay, so only because of great mercy from Allah, you were lenient to them. Next one. مِمَّا خَطِيئَاتِهِمْ أُغْرِقُوا. Mimma is made up of min plus ma. From what? From what? Their sins, their mistakes, or their sins, they were drowned. Or you can say because of their sins, mean from their sins, meaning because of their sins. Because of their sins, they were drowned. Talking about the nation of Nuh alayhi salam. But what does ma mean here? Because of what, if I translate ma, because of what their sins, they were drowned. So ma, translating ma doesn't make sense here. So it is again ma zaida. This is how you determine. You just ignore it and it will make sense. If you add it, then it will not make a lot of sense. If you translate it as what. So we have to include its meaning in the ayah, but we cannot say what. We cannot translate it as what. So how we will say? Now we have it. It is highlighting the hatiyatihim. It is so because of actually their sins they were drowned. Or it means they were not drowned for any other reason, but actually for their sins they were drowned. So Allah is highlighting their sins, emphasizing on the sins by the use of ma zaida, the extra ma. Because of their sins, they were drowned, not for any other reason. Okay, so this is again the use of ma to emphasize or highlight another word in the sentence in the ayah. Third example. وَمَا هُوَ بِقَوْلِ شَاعِرٍ قَلِيلًا مَا تُؤْمِنُونَ. And not at all ma plus b combination. So this is ma nafiya. Okay, this is not ma zaida. And not at all he is not at all saying, not at all it is a saying of a poet. And it is not at all the saying of a poet. Qalilan ma tu'minun. Little is what you believe, if we translate as regular. But actually when ma zaida comes with ism nakira, it makes it more nakira. So qalil means little. And qalilan ma, how little? Even more little than little. How little you all believe. So this ma zaida is used to uh, magnify, make big the nakira feature of a nakira ism. And it is not at all the saying of a poet, how little you believe. So this is the ma playing another role here. Next one. فَإِمَّا تَرَيِنَّ مِنَ الْبَشَرِ أَحَدًا فَقُولِي إِنِّي نَذَرْتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ صَوْمًا. Now where is ma here? This is the ma. It is made up of in plus ma. In plus ma. So if, I'm not translating ma here at this time. And if you see, and there is a nunu takid, and nunu takid is telling me it will definitely happen. So if you see, and that seeing will definitely happen. So if you see any from men, then you say, indeed I pledged a fasting for the extremely merciful. Okay. So there is already emphasis in tarayinna, and then ma is added to it too, which is making the likelihood of that happening even more. Okay. So you cannot translate it as ma meaning what here. You have to include it in other words, the meaning, the effect of it in other words. So if you see anyone from human, and that will most definitely happen, then you say, indeed, I have pledged a fasting for the extremely merciful. So this ma here is ma zaida. So how you recognize it? Like if you uh, just don't translate it, that the sentence will still make sense, and that is why it is called ma zaida, extra ma. But it does have a role, very important role. We need to understand it, and understanding that will really tell you what the ayah actually means, the real flavor of the ayah. Then you will really understand. I think this is pretty good. So these 4 examples are telling us we don't need to go through the next example. This gives us the understanding what Mazaida is. Or maybe we should, because it is a different kinds of no, I think I should go through this. إذا ما أتوك بتحملهم قلت لا أجد ما أحملكم عليه. When, by not translating ma, when they came to you so that you carried them, you said, I do not find what I carry you all upon. So this is ma mausula. But what about this ma? I translated the whole sentence without using this ma and still made sense. So this ma is ma zaida. So what is it is doing? It is highlighting, magnifying their coming. This is about a war. When some young men came, they did not have any ride, any camel or horse to go to the war. But they were really motivated and willing to go. So they came to the Prophet and said, we don't have a ride. Can you provide us a ride? And then we will go with you. So they were so motivated. So Allah, and they took the initiative to coming to the Prophet even when they didn't have a ride. So Allah is highlighting their coming, that they had the motivation made them come, even when they could have just said, we don't have a ride, but we don't need to go to the war. But Allah is highlighting their coming because of their iman they had. So Allah is saying, when actually they came to you. So somehow we have to magnify their coming to the Prophet. So we can say when actually that happened, they really that happened, or you can use some other words too, but we have to magnify their coming here, magnify and describe its significance. And so when actually they came to you so that you carry them, you said, I do not find what I carry you upon. So this is another example with iza. When iza comes, it could be translated as actually, or you can translate it as finally. In other examples, it may, for using the word finally, may make more sense. So let me finish this and then we can ask questions at the end, inshallah. Just two types left now. Next is ma masdariya. We know what is a masdar. Masdar is a noun, right? In our TPI, the last word we say is a masdar. Like fataha yaftahu fathan. The fathan, fath is the masdar. So ma masdariya means a ma which is used to make a verb, or which is used to convert a verb into a masdar. Okay, a ma which is used. This is a very important ma. We need to understand this. This will really help you if you understand this and start using it. This ma comes with a fail, and with actually it has a sila, they call it. It's a sila, and you can then change that to a masdar, and it will make sense, inshallah. For example, we'll learn with an example. وَعَيُنُهُمْ تَفِيضُ مِنَ الدَّمْعِ حَزَنًا أَلَّا يَجِدُوا مَا يُنْفِقُونَ. And their eyes, they overflow مِنَ الدَّمْعِ, from tears, out of grief, because of grief, that not they find. If I translate it as what, it means what they spend. So I translate again. And their eyes overflow with tears out of grief. And why they're grieving? That not they find what they spend. Like they want to spend in the path of Allah. Or they could spend to prepare themselves for going to war with the Prophet, but they don't have money. That not they find what they spend. I'm translating it more like a ma mausula. But actually, if you translate it as not they find their expenses, their expenditure, their money, actually, that will make more sense. So yunfikuna will be changed into a masdar. What's the it's like infaqahum, because anfaqa yunfiku, infaq, that's the masdar for yunfikuna. And what is the inside doer? Hum. So you attach that hum at the end of the masdar and make it like mudaf mudaf ilayh. Infaqahum. Allah yajidu infaqahum. So ma yunfikuna actually means what? Infaqahum. So what is infaqahum? Infaq is a masdar. So this ma plus its sila is changed into a masdar now. And that masdar is called masdar muawwal. Because it was actually not a masdar. It is not written as a masdar. It is understood as a masdar. It is interpreted as a masdar. So that is why it is called masdar muawwal. Awwala yu'awwilu ta'wil. We know ta'wil. The word it was used yesterday. Understanding. Interpretation. So this ma yunfikuna is understood as a masdar. And that's why this ma is called ma masdariya. So ma yunfikuna will be translated as, in Arabic, if I say infaqahum. Allah yajidu infaqahum, that they do not find their expenditure, their expenses. Similarly, الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يعرفونه كما يعرفون أبناءهم. الذين, those who we gave them the book, they recognize him. عرف يعرف. They recognize him. Ka means as. This ma is separate. This ma is ma masdariya. Okay. If I translate it as like ma mausula, or regular translation is ma is what. So if I translate it as what, then it will be those who we gave them the book, they recognize it as what they recognize their fathers. It doesn't make sense if I translate it as what. So it cannot be translated as what. This is actually ma masdariya. So ya'rifuna. Arafa ya'rifu. Arafa ya'rifu. Masdar is ma'rifa. Ma'rifa. So ma'rifatihim, because whom is the inside doer. I'm doing the same thing as we were doing here. Ma'rifatihim. Ma'rifatihim abna'ahum. So ka ma'rifatihim abna'ahum. So ma ya'rifuna will be understood as what? Ma'rifatihim. So that is the masdar muawwal. So if I translate it now, you will see that translation will improve. Those who we gave them the book, they recognize him as they're recognizing their fathers. Sorry, their abnahum means their sons. I was saying it wrong all the time. As they're recognizing their sons. So now it makes more sense. Those who we gave them the book, they recognize him as they're recognizing their sons. So now it makes more sense. Ma is now used up in making this masdar muawwal. So ma yarifuna is and will be understood as ma'rifatihim. And you see ka is harf jar, and ma yarifuna when changed to masdar muawwal ma'rifatihim will be majroor. So it will be a case of jar wa majroor. Jar majroor. That's a phrase. Okay. And the last one is وَاتَّخَذُوا آيَاتِي وَمَا أُنذِرُوا هُزُوًا. And they took our signs and what they were warned as joke. It makes sense, right? This ma doesn't have to necessarily be changed. This ma can be used as ma mausula here. And they took our signs and what they were warned with as joke, huzwa, joke. But if I use it as ma masdariya, it will also make sense. And they took my signs and their warning. Anzara yunziru inzar. Inzarahum. And they took my signs and their inzar. Inzarihim. Sorry, inzarahum. Huzwa. As a joke. So this ma, sometimes, a ma, there's a ma can be ma musula, ma or ma masdariya. It's not really clear sometimes. But if ma comes with its aid, then it is definitely ma mausula. It cannot be ma masdariya. But if there is no aid, then there can be, it could fall in either category. It could be ma masdariya or could be ma mausula. Both will make sense. So this is one of those examples where you can use it as ma masdariya or ma mausula. And the last one is ma zamaniya. Ma zamaniya. This talks about their period of time or quantity, sometimes even quantity. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. You all fear Allah. You all fear Allah as much as you are able to. Istata'a yastati'u. Istata'a, he was able. Istata'a, istata'u, istata'ata, istata'tum. You all are able. You all were able actually. This is Madi. But when it's used with ma zamaniya, it will be translated as mudare. So you all protect, you all fear Allah as much as you can. So I'm translating it as much as you are able to. So this ma is translated as much as. So you all fear Allah as much as you are able to. And you see, I'm using it as a mudari. فَكُنْتُ عَلَيْهِمْ شَهِيدًا مَا دُمْتُ فِيهِمْ. And I was upon them a witness as long as I remained in them. So now ma is translated as long as. Dumtu, I remained. And I was upon them a witness. If you translate it as what, it will not make sense. What I remained in them. No. As long as I remained in them. So this ma is again ma zamaniya. It will be translated as long as. Over here it was translated as much as. So these are the two possible translations of ma zamaniya. And if you translate it as something else, some other type of ma, it will not make sense, and that will force you to think what other ma it can be. So it is a process. Like you see a ma and you go with your first impression, try to use it, and if you cannot come up with a good translation, then see what other ma it could be. Are there any indications that are telling you what kind of ma it is? So it's not very simple all the time. Sometimes it is, but many times you will have to think about it, what kind of ma it is, and sometimes it can be more than one type. Like ma here, it could be either ma mausula or ma masdariya. So these are the 8 types of ma. So I will just go quickly over their names. Ma istifhamiya, ma nafiya, ma mausula, ma shartiya, ma ta'ajjubiya, ma zaida, ma masdariya, and ma zamaniya. I know it's a lot of work, but if you now, moving on, when you see a ma in Quran, at least you should make an effort to find out what kind of ma it is. Which one of these 8 types is that ma? And inshallah, it will improve your understanding of the Quran. Inshallah. In many occasions, it will. Any question? I hope it wasn't overwhelming, was it? Any feedback? Because most of it we already know, like ma nafiya, ma istifhamiya, ma mausula, we already know those. Sorry, somebody was saying something.
Yeah, here's my feedback. That's too much.
Too much?
Yeah.
So what does that mean then?
Well, that's a lot of types of ma we've learned in one day, one weekend.
I think it's for us to benefit from all these mas when we are learning and make real good interpretations. What mas are, I don't know what makes sense or not.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair, brother. That's what it is, right?
Yes.
Now, it may be overwhelming a bit for some of us, but it means that we need to at least go over it a few times in our own time And when we are reading in the, the second part, we are reading Quran and we see a ma, we should stop for a few seconds over there, maybe a couple of minutes, and try to find out what type of ma it is. Now we have gone over these types of ma at least once. Now we should be able to spend some time and figure out what kind of ma it is. Whenever we see a ma, when we are reading Quran. Okay. So I know it is a little too much, too quick, but it is all recorded. It will be uploaded and you can see it again. And you can ask questions always. If you don't understand it, you want me to revise some of it, we can do that too. But I think knowing the types of ma can be very beneficial in properly understanding the Quran, because ma is everywhere in Quran. On every page there will be ma definitely, more than once used. So it is very important to understand ma and its role in Arabic. It's a huge role in Arabic because it's used very often. So if there are no other feedback or any questions, I can close this session, this part of the class.